We have talked many times about transport brokers and the woes of the transport industry on this show. And I'm not going to give you a whole summary of what we've talked about. I'm just going to give you some more current examples of why the transport industry is terrible. Just this week, we had a fairly minor experience, but a customer didn't want to wait to get their car back. And in all fairness, our trusted shipper had delayed more than once. That happens. The worst that good transporters can do typically is be late. Bad transporters go to the port with your car instead of to the destination or to a chop shop. That's happening all the time now. But anyway, they hired their own transporter off of Central Dispatch, and no surprise, the car showed up damaged. Ooh. Now, Central Dispatch is a clearinghouse for transporters, dealers, brokers. It is not public facing. It is only where people in the industry can post loads and find loads. And it's not great. The selection on there, it's slim pickings. It's like 65-year-olds on a dating website. You know, it's yikes. So he posted up on there. Car gets there, car gets damaged. He calls me, sends me pictures. He's like, dude, what happened? I was like, well, it wasn't like that when the car left. And he's like, well, the trucker said it was. He's trying to get me to sign the bill of lading and leave. And I was like,
classic.
Yeah. Stand by. Let me send you photos. So we sent him photos that the trucker took as part of his inspection report at pickup that showed that it wasn't damaged, and sent them to the delivery end. And we're like, these are his photos from his inspection report. He's lying through his teeth. He's like, yeah, I figured he was. But, and the funny thing is, when he had even said, I'm going to get it picked up via Central Dispatch, I warned him. I'm like, oh, okay. So do you want the car back with the same clutch that it left with? Or so anyway, but what I want to highlight from that is one of the biggest major problems in the transport industry. When the trucker showed up, I shouldn't say when the company, because you'll understand why. When the trucker showed up to pick up the car, our guys at the shop said, hey, what's your company name? Because we always verify if we don't book the transport, if somebody else books the transport, we say, hey, who'd you book? What's the company name? Verify that and send it and get the clearance from the customer to release the car to that trucker. The trucker's answer was delayed. He couldn't remember.
Look, we all get a little forgetful sometimes. I understand. But that's a little questionable.
Well, as he pulled in, he had one company name on his truck.
Oh.
And then he went into his binder or whatever and pulled out a different sticker to put on the side of his truck and swapped the names.
I was gonna did he have it like written on the inside of his arm? He had to look down real quick and be like, got a little smudged at the last rest stop.
You joke, but there's an insider tip here. This is how these companies work, and this is one of the major issues, the fundamental issues with the transport industry. So these truckers, and you'll be able to spot them on the highway. It's very easy. Typically, they have holes in their trailer, but also they're driving just like an F-250 or something like that, and they will have a company name that was printed out at Kinko's and taped on to the window.
It's flapping a little bit because the tapes
Possibly,
come, loose.
Yeah, they bought the cheap tape. Sometimes it's written in Sharpie. So what happens is people are trying their best to avoid shady truckers, ones that don't have proper insurance, that screw them over, whatever. But they're not going far enough. So these brokers will go on Central Dispatch or even the parent companies, and they'll call on a load, but their company might be blocked or might have terrible feedback, so they'll call from a different company. So they'll have a list of 20, 30 companies that they operate under or book loads for, subcontract for, and they'll call. And like when we put a load on central dispatch, which is rarely because it's because of all this. I mean, the phone will just start ringing nonstop, over and over again, often from the same number, but always from the same region. It's always Chicago, almost always. And they'll just call from different companies. And then they'll sub it out to a driver. I don't want to say a truck driver, a guy with a truck and a trailer who is not employed by that company, may or may not have a CDL, is definitely not listed on their insurance, but he's got a binder full of different companies and like their insurance cards and their MC and DOT numbers. And it's like, okay, what company am I picking up under today for this load? Oof. Stick it on there. For all we know, he might have 3 different cars in the trailer that are booked under 3 different companies. So you imagine what happens when something goes wrong. It's an absolute insurance nightmare. And when I did this video criticizing a janky trucker that came to pick up one of our cars, I got all sorts of flack for it. Like, oh, don't judge a book by its cover. And I'm like, no, I can. Like, this is the crap that we're dealing with. And, you know, it might go okay most of the time for them. But the problem is what happens when it doesn't go okay. So we've got companies using not fully licensed drivers, and because of the type of truck and trailer they're driving, they can avoid the DOT inspections and the weigh stations. So they're going heavily unregulated.
Well, yeah, I guess if you're just driving an F-250 with like an enclosed trailer on the back, you don't need to stop, do you? Because anybody can do that.
You should if you're DOT licensed.
Oh.
But if you take your sticker off, yeah.
Who's going to know?
Just blow the weigh station.
Personal transport. They're probably not going to come get you.
They might, but yeah,
Ooh.
Good odds that they won't. And that's just the tip of the iceberg. That's the guys that are just operating in a somewhat shady manner. There's a whole rash of hotshot carriers to 2-car transporters. There's like essentially a theft ring of transporters that are stealing cars. That's the bigger problem. But we're just talking about the semi-legitimate ones who are damaging cars and not taking responsibility. And this is one of the dark underbellies of the transport world, and that's how they're doing it. So you have to be so careful when you're booking transport. And speaking of that, somebody texted me today and said, hey, have you heard of this transport company? Because somebody is using it, a good client of theirs is using it to send all of their high-end cars down to the Chattanooga Motor Festival. So good cars, it's going to a show, so they have to be on time, which not going to happen. So he sends me over this website, eclipseautotransport.com. And, you know, very nice photos of fancy trucks and great descriptions, but they appear to quite obviously be stock photos.
Oh, I do always wonder if you like reverse image search this beautiful photo of this car carrier that looks like a Peterbilt or something that's blue with red flames and all these lights carrying some Mercedes. Like, how many times are you going to find that? Where's it actually from? You know?
Right.
Is there like an iStock or something watermark that's been smudged out?
Well, one of these, it says TKO Motorsports. It's somebody else's truck and trailer. Right. But they've got these fancy descriptions, sort of. I mean, it's a 1-page website that was powered by GoDaddy. So they fired it up. Opener and closed shipping available across the state or across the globe. We've moved cars for players of the NBA, MLB, and NFL, as well as projects ranging from priceless collections to project cars. We can and have moved everything from farm tractors to Batmobiles. We don't, however, just move vehicles. We also move heavy equipment, boats of all sizes, or whatever your company may need moved, and we can move it anywhere in the world. Whether you need to get a car to Bahrain or a motorcycle to Australia or a farm tractor to Finland, we can handle that for you with ease.
You know, they say a jack of all trades is a master of none. I don't know if I want somebody carrying my nice Porsche or maybe a glorious 98 Corvette pace car if they can also, you know, ship a box like UPS to Australia. They're
not good at spelling. They spell their own company name wrong on the site. Why you should choose Eclipse Auto Transport. Now, disclaimer here. I will get to the punchline of this company, but disclaimer, I'm not here to knock the company. They do have good ratings where I looked them up. they do have a bond, a surety bond, not insurance. We talked about that a little bit earlier in this, in the previous segment. And they seem to be a half decent broker, but that's what they are, a broker. They have a fancy website. They are using, it appears to be, they're using other people's photos, and, you know, they look very fancy, but aren't. And the reason I know they're not, and we'll have Ethan put this up on the screen for people on the video, is I Googled their address in Scottstown, Indiana, or whatever it was, and it came up, Scottsburg, Indiana. It came up a field with this like little farm shack as their company headquarters.
Doug, I just think that these guys are so efficient, running such a tight ship, that all their money has gone into the trucks that are carrying our valuable vehicles. They don't have time for an office space. Oh,
they should at least have like a yard. There should be some trucks somewhere nearby in this street view. Their other address, though, comes up as an apartment, which is fairly common. You know, that's where their dispatcher operates out of, is the apartment. So anyway, again, they're just a broker. This is not to knock them as a company. They're not an illegitimate company. It's just, this is the typical thing with brokers, is they make themselves out to be this global big conglomerate that can do anything for you. And they're some person in an apartment or in a farm barn that is just posting on Central Dispatch, going out to the lowest bidder. And if things go wrong, you're SOL. It's the generalities. Again, not saying anything specific about that company, but that's the auto transport world for you.
There's got to be so much money or so much meat left on the bone if there can be so many layers of this onion of auto transport. You know, in a truly bad situation, so we're not talking about Eclipse anymore, but I'm talking in a real layered up situation. You got this guy calling this guy who's going to that guy who's then finally getting to the guy with the truck. Does the guy with the truck get like $5 at the end of this?
They don't get paid much. Oof. They really don't, which is why their equipment is under-maintained and they are underinsured, is because it really is not worth it. Yeah. If you have one claim in this business as one of these smaller companies, you're done. And that's what happens, is they just file bankruptcy and start a new one because it's just not worth it. Now, with that, let's go to the Shrewd Negotiator, one of our favorite segments where people just are trying so hard to get the best deal or to sell their wares that they make a fool out of themselves often, and we have fun at their expense. So, Tyler, what do we got?
So I found this one while searching for some GT3s, as I like to dream most days. So this comes to us from the Pelican Parts Forum. Rare opportunity, it says in bold text. 2002 Porsche 911 Turbo X50, the ultimate driving machine.
This isn't for sale by CPR Classic Sales, is it?
No, I don't believe so.
Good. So probably comes with a title.
I would hope so. It sure comes with a lot of description. I'm not going to read you all this. It's really intense. But this is the heart of a champion, a true collector's dream. Imagine yourself, Doug, behind the wheel of a meticulous...
Wait a minute. Did he just describe the universally hated headlight 996 as a collector's dream?
100%.
Okay. Keep going.
Imagine yourself behind the wheel of a meticulously maintained, low-mileage 2002 Porsche 911 Turbo with the coveted X50 performance package. This isn't just any 911, Doug. It is a piece of automotive history, a testament to German engineering at its finest, and it could be yours.
Is it automotive history just because it's in the past, or is there something significant about...
Let me tell you about the car. Well, other than the X50 performance package, basalt black metallic exterior, timeless elegance that turns heads. Boxster red leather interior.
Oh, good. It's not graphite gray.
Whoa, now hold on a second. I don't know if we need to besmirch graphite gray.
Listen, Boxster red's pretty cool. That's pretty cool.
It is a stunning contrast that exudes luxury. It's got sport seats. It's got carbon fiber accents. Ooh,
Ethan, do we have a sound effect yet for hardcore eye roll?
We should.
We need the people listening on the audio to know how far back my eyes are in my head after some of this overly verbose descriptiveness.
It's really hard to try to pare this down, but there's a couple more important things I want to hit in here. Rare features that set this 911 apart. RenKit ERAM spoiler conversion, reliable and smooth operation. GT2 style front bumper, aggressive looks without compromising integrity. And, my favorite part, Tiptronic S transmission.
Wait, what? Hold on.
Tiptronic.
You just buried the lead there.
I did.
You sent this to me earlier, and I didn't even make it that far.
Effortless daily driving with blistering
He even called it
performance.
the Tiptronic S.
Yes, 100%. So there is lots of repetition. There's so many more words.
It's not rare it's more rare. It's not. It's a good thing that transmission is part of Porsche history, for sure.
So it has this listed as under 55,000 miles. Where?
That's not that
I don't
low.
know. Somewhere under 55,000.
54.9.
Probably. How much do you think that they want for this automotive excellence?
I don't know. Probably $75,000.
$87,500.
That's stupid. That's good.
It's insane.
Stick shift turbo X50 lower mileage money. I've had a couple that I couldn't sell for. That's stupid.
And the front bumper looks like it's a slightly different color. Like it's basalt black for those of you that
got
don't.
it for. It's like a fiberglass one from M.A. Shaw or something like that.
Probably.
And it fits decently. And yeah.
Well, and basalt black, for those of you that don't know, is like a metallic, and it's always hard to match metallics, and they did not do a great job.
Jeez.
So yeah.
If it's a collector's dream, he's going to be a collector of that car for quite a while.
Oh my gosh.
He's not going to wake up from that dream.
There are no comments yet. It's been listed for a couple of days. Shocking.
I think we need to post the link up so people can go troll him.
I'll make sure producer Ethan gets the linky link for this and can put some photos up.
Beautiful. This episode is brought to you by Sheffield All Sport Watches. The Sheffield brand was recently revived by Jay Turkbus, an owner of an original Sheffield All Sport diver he received from his parents in 1970 when he was just 11, beginning his love of watches. As an adult, Jay used his extensive expertise in product development and marketing to revive the brand that started it all. He set out to develop watches with a high level of quality and specification at a value price. His first effort, and a successful one in July of 2023, was the debut of the Sheffield All Sport Diver 1. It had the kind of build and movement that much more expensive watches use, and his debut price of $108 was equivalent to the $13 his parents paid back in 1970. Since that debut, Sheffield has expanded to a wider range of automatics and chronos, many designed around vintage Sheffield dials of the 60s. The Sheffield well of clever and unique design remains his inspiration, as well as maintaining the goal of high-quality, very affordable range of automatic and quartz watches. Sheffield watches, value on merit, not just price. I love mine. Get yours at SheffieldWatches.com and mention that you heard about them on Switchcast. Thank you for joining us for Switchcast with Doug Tabbitt and Tyler Sanders, produced by Ethan Huffnagel. Switchcast is an automotive entertainment and opinion show, and nothing we say should be taken very seriously. We do not give tax, investment, legal, emotional, or professional advice, and the only licenses we hold are driver's licenses. The opinions expressed on this show are exclusively held by the people pontificating at that moment and do not reflect the values of our producers or sponsors. Our theme music is provided by Emily and Ivory. You can stream their full album on Spotify or SoundCloud. If you like this show, you can stream it in its entirety on your favorite audio podcast platform. Check out switchcast.live for more info.